post last time, we can maintain that we all witnessed and were there was something, this last event that happened actually happened, or do we start fresh again?
Most definitely. You are 100% a survivor of what took place last time. I mean, I'm not necessarily sure I will go ahead and say that you're going to be wanting to go around talking about it, because
Definitely not with other people, but
right, yeah. I mean,
I
I
feel
don't necessarily playing in your favor to go talking to other people about it. At least not strange people, but amongst you three, definitely, you can
Oh,
talk
could we
about it.
like
I mean,
be
and
at
you
a
can judge as to who you talk about it too. But then again, back then there was a lot of skepticism, and at best, people will think that you're talking about science fiction, right? So, sorry, what were you gonna say, Red Wolf?
but amongst ourselves, like at a, talking
Yeah,
quietly at a table at a diner without anybody else there.
by all
Um,
means.
Sam might put some feelers out and have someone draw the creature they saw, the flying creature,
Mm-hmm. Well, that flying
and
creature's still
kind of
there for all you know. I mean,
right, but
unless you guys ever decide
to
to go back there, or to start hunting it, that creature is just going to be around. Unless we make a campaign eventually where you guys decide to go hunt it down.
well, right now we don't have the resources or the skills. I don't think
Right?
for
No,
this.
you ultimately don't have anything about that. And during this campaign, this will be completely unrelated to that. So because it will be completely unrelated, uh, that creature wouldn't even be an issue to the town at this point, other than the fact that maybe somebody, in the worst of the cases, can go ahead and say that they've seen something strange flying, but nothing major, nothing to potentially come and complain about an attack or anything like that. Not right now, at least. We can assume that if
But
they you can
it
assume
does
that if
put
the
it.
creature has been attacking or doing anything, probably has been doing it, having has been sticking to the rural areas, outside of Arkham.
It does put us all in the realm of believers, though. Now,
Most definitely.
unfortunately,
Yep, yep. You are no longer somebody that doesn't know about strange things. I mean, ultimately, when something happens and enough time goes by, certain times certain people may decide to start wondering if what they experienced was actually something that they did experience, and it wasn't just like a dream or something like that. So at best, maybe you could start feeling that way. But then again, I don't know that will hit you just yet, because we want this campaign to happen um, somewhat soon after that, but not too soon. Meaning that this wouldn't be happening immediately after, where you will be freaking out and still kind of looking up for anything weird and specific. But at the same time, we want it to happen to where you are fully aware that weird stuff happens at any time, or it's capable of happening at any time. So any other
so
questions?
just long enough for them to digest, but not enough to change much.
Yeah, So do you
How many
guys have? I'm sorry.
how many sanity points do you lose before like bad mental stuff starts happening? I think I lost 3. And I just don't know, like, am I just shaken up or is that enough to be like got some weird behaviors now?
How many sanity points can you lose before your character becomes unusable? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, kinda.
I believe it is somewhere around the realm of you have to be left with about a quarter of your starting amount of points.
Okay.
So if you had, let's say for example, 75, the moment that you are at 25, that's where your character may be a little too loopy to be able to do anything, and your character may decide to go look for professional help, meaning
Okay.
get yourself institutionalized and see if you can recover some sanity at that point. But then again, you also run the risk of of going too crazy while being outside doing different stuff, and therefore you may make the mistake of um, doing something really really bad, and then be forced to be institutionalized. And at that point, it's not up to you as to when you can leave. It will be up to whatever punishment you're paying the price for as to when you're going to be free again. Any other questions? No? Okay. So, then we're going to start. You guys are going to be meeting at this diner for breakfast. Nothing crazy. I guess you guys at this point in time are keeping in touch, meeting every so often to be able to keep in touch and talk and share maybe weird things that happen in your life. Have somebody to talk to. After all, you guys definitely have something very big in common. I don't necessarily know that you're ever gonna be able to find somebody with any bigger type of experience that you can share, amongst a bunch of people that they may still be alive. So you guys are meeting over there at the diner at, let's say, 9 o'clock in the morning. Just have breakfast. So, is there anything you guys want to do before meeting at the diner, in particular?
You mean like administrationally wise?
Like anything whatsoever. I mean, ultimately, you're just meeting for breakfast. So whatever it is you want to do or you wanted to do, in case you wanted to do something, that's when you would do it.
Um, no, not comes to mind.
Okay. All right. So, you guys arrive one right after the other at the diner. The diner seems to be quite full. Actually, I mean, starting to get full. A lot of people are stopping by to eat breakfast. Some people before heading to work. Some people to get something to eat really fast. while they are going to work, etc. But ultimately, nothing out of the ordinary. People are just there to eat, right? So you guys sit down, and the waitress comes. And obviously you guys are talking amongst yourselves. You guys haven't seen each other for a week or two, maybe. So you know, the waitress just comes. She's like, "Oh, hey, welcome, welcome. What would you guys like to get?"
I'll
Just
take
some.
some run.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll take some runny eggs, toast, and a cup of coffee.
Sure thing, she says.
Coffee and pancakes. A lot of coffee.
Some eggs, some bacon, and maybe some of those potatoes.
Okay, yeah, no problem, she says, and she's like, "Okay, well, I will be right back," and she leaves. And you notice that, the diner is, it's a place that is relatively big. I mean, it's got a big floor area. Behind the counter, not so big. The kitchen is definitely not that big either. Um, but the floor area is quite big. You have at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 12 tables surrounding your table, right? You're not necessarily sitting by the window. You're just sitting like in the middle of the diner. Obviously you don't have a party that big either to be having a big table. So therefore, you can clearly see different people talking and eating. There's families, people that they have they're with their children. There's people that are just with their spouses, with some other people, um, just some friends. You know, everybody and anybody that could be there is there. Um, nothing, and nobody seems to be having any kind of hostile type of relationship at the moment. There, everybody seems to be very easygoing. Everybody's just enjoying themselves and enjoying the food. So nobody's is like necessarily having an argument or anything like that. No. So the waitress comes back, and when the waitress comes back, she gives you guys this great smile. She's like, "Oh, here's your food. Um, I hope you like it. All this stuff is fresh. We're having some great turnover today, so hope you guys enjoy the food. And if you need anything, uh, hit me up. Also, I'm sorry that we have this music on the radio. The radio's just playing jazz. You know? She's like, I'm not necessarily in charge of the radio, so if you guys want something different, you can tell me. I might be able to tell the owner, but as it is right now, that's what he likes to put on. So, but other than that, enjoy." And she just walks
It's
away.
perfectly fine.
So, what do you guys like to do while you're there?
Well, Sam will light a cigarette while he's waiting for his breakfast. Hey, oh, by the way, guys, and he looks around casually, and then he unfolds a piece of paper. I had this drawn up the other day. What do you think? And it's a picture of that flying creature swooping down, like it would have done while we were. It was chasing us in the car. It almost hit us.
I don't even really want to think about that, much less have an image commissioned. I'm not really sure why you did this. It's quite good, but I
I'm
don't
a
like this.
I'm a journalist. This is
But
what we do.
yeah, but who would believe you?
Well, that's the
I
thing.
mean,
I mean,
maybe if you use it to write a book.
and I might, but hear me out. So we we find a way to get this picture published. Or, maybe not in any kind of official way. Maybe it's a fiction piece, whatever. But don't you think we all saw it? There's got to be other things going on like this, and other people see those too, and don't tell anybody. What if we get this thing out there, and someone asks us about it? I mean, there could be a
You
lot of
want
us.
to you want to start what? A club of weird phenomenon of supernatural survivors?
Sam chuckles.
Or even
Not necessarily a club per se. I mean, come on, it's not a bowling club. We're talking about life and death here. This thing was trying to kill us. Do we all? Are we all in agreement about that?
Yeah, clearly.
yes.
So the information is power, right? If we can learn more about this stuff, we can find something that maybe learned of a way to defend against it. I mean, it's not in my opinion, it's a win-win. I can leave your names out of it if you want.
It does sound like a good way to help people. I'll pitch in while I can, but definitely leave my name off it. My good name is quite important as a doctor. If,
Yeah,
my
you got to
colleagues find
practice.
it.
Yeah, you got your own
Yeah.
practice. I get it. I get it. So so fictional names then. You guys are good with it?
Yeah.
Ran? Oh, what happened?
No, I just came back. Sorry, it just reloaded my Discord. But go ahead, keep going.
Ran, I got to hear you say you're good with me publishing. What's your name? Is Ran the right pronunciation?
Are you?
Arian, you're there?
Hello?
Yep.
You hear me?
Yep. We can now.
I I tempted to say several times and several things actually. Um, I mean, you can publish it, but I if that collab idea or research group or whatever you want to call it, if these things were more common occurrence, I'd agree about forming it, but if not, better to make people think it's within the realm of fiction
Well, that's what I'm saying.
to avoid it actually becoming a common occurrence.
That's kind of what I'm saying, though. I mean, we give the guys a fiction, and maybe someone who's seen something like this comes back to us and says, "Hey, we need to talk." That kind of thing.
I mean, if it happens, it happens. So, well, yes. There are worse ways to do it.
So,
As long as you don't start looking for these things intentionally.
so as you're talking, everybody go ahead and enroll listen, please. Nice. Wow. All right, taking it seriously. All right, so you notice that the conversation on the table right next to you, where a husband and a wife seems to get a little loud, but ultimately they laugh it up. It's almost like they had that short argument, whatever, but it wasn't a very bad argument. It was more like a playful argument amongst two people that they've been together for too long, and therefore they just uh, they just go ahead and play it off, laugh it off at the end, and the husband just goes ahead. He grabs her hand and says, "Oh, you know what? I love you. We can't really let this kind of thing bother us, can we?" And she says, "No, you know what? You're right. We are way past this." And while that happens, you hear the music on the radio. The music on the radio just seems to just a song that seems to just come on, a very popular song of the times. You know, if you know of any songs, you can pick it. Otherwise, just imagine any song, any jazz song of the times, and it just plays. And you guys just go back to kind of look at each other, you know, like a little surprised as to how well that conversation went between the two people sitting there, and suddenly go ahead and roll. I guess it wouldn't be spy. Actually, no, you don't have to roll anything. I mean, it would be impossible not to see it, not for you to see it. So you notice that everybody, well, at least not everybody, but at least one person of every table just seems to stand up at that moment. And the wife of the husband that was over there, she just stands up. And it's very strange. She's just standing by the table in between her seat and the husband's seat, like right in the middle of the table. And it's funny because everybody else, when you look around, they're kind of doing the same thing. She has this blank stare. She's just looking at him, almost as if she's got a very strange smile. Um, and the husband, you know, is also talking to her. She's like, "Are you okay? Um, what's going on? Do you want a hug? Are we hugging it out? Is that what we're doing, or do you want to sit with me? Do you want to sit right next to me? You know, this. I don't know that this is the place for you to sit on my lap. You know, maybe we can go back home and you can do that." And suddenly, the wife just picks up the butter knife and stabs the husband in the neck. At the same time, you notice that everybody has done about the same thing. I mean, the people that were standing up. In this gruesome scene where you hear people screaming, all of a sudden the whole place started getting covered in blood, mainly because, you know, they're cutting or stabbing on the artery that is by the neck, so therefore blood is just gushing everywhere. Go ahead and roll your luck, see if any blood gets on you guys. All right, so Arlen, you get a little bit of blood on you. You get some blood on you, but it's quite the event going on, because, you know, it's not just one person doing it. It's, you know, we said that there was about 12 tables, so about 12 people just stabbed somebody else around your table. So,
Well, okay.
what would you like to do?
Get the hell out of the.
We're getting the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
All aboard the Nope Nope train.
Not me. I ask if anyone has bandages, and I rush to the person that looks the most injured, and I start trying to save people.
So as soon as this happens, about a minute
Oh,
goes by, and as some of you may be getting up and starting to try to go out. I mean, considering that you wouldn't go out right away, it probably might have taken you as a shock that so many people are doing it at the same time, and maybe you guys stating to each other that some of you are going out, and but when that happens, the people that stabs their significant others, family members, or whatnot, um, after a moment's time, they just seem to come back to their senses, and they're like, "Oh my God, what have I? What happened? What have I done?" And you see some women crying. You see some men being complete desperate, starting to scream. Somebody call somebody. Call the police. Call the ambulance. Um, we need some help. These people are gonna die. My husband is gonna die. My wife is gonna die. Blah blah blah. Really really big event happening, and the waitress, she just comes, and the best thing she can do is bring some towels, some rags to people to try to like put by their necks and trying to hold the blood, but truthfully, everybody's dead at this point.
if it's arterial, we have a few minutes to potentially save their lives.
Yeah, but
So,
the ambulance for one is not gonna have enough room to get everybody to the hospital at the same time, and for two, an ambulance in the 1920s is not a 5-minute trip. It's a more like a realistic, maybe 30, 45 minutes until they show up, and then whatever amount of time until they bring you in. So most
holy
of those
shit,
people
they're
are dead.
fast. Over on my side, if you're lucky, you wait half an hour to 45 minutes.
Right.
If you're not lucky, you can wait up to 2 hours for an ambulance to arrive.
There you go. Even worse. So as
It's
you are
much worse on
doing
my
that,
side.
also you notice how the owner of the diner is calling the authorities, and those of you that go outside, do you guys leave or do you just stay there, just
Well,
outside?
being a investigative journalist, I'm going to start asking people, um, typically the stabbers, what were you thinking? What was happening? And why did you do that? And that kind of thing. Getting
Well,
names.
the
I
stabbers right now, are like, I really don't know. I was just sitting down eating. We were just talking, and then all of a sudden, I find myself just standing over here with him or her, just bleeding to death. So I don't know that I stabbed her. For all I know, it could be anybody here. But I didn't do anything. I'm super concerned because my significant other is dying, and they're like
Yeah, but
sobbing,
we saw,
crying,
yeah,
like.
we saw you stab her.
So you can do, if you want, a psychology roll.
All right, 1 second.
Yeah, yeah. You can see
I
that
guess
they are truthfully telling you that they have no idea how that happened. They have no clue how that took place.
So that'll be a consistent theme through the questioning.
Well, yeah,
All
they
right.
all seem super sincere when they tell you that they don't know.
I'm attempted first aid to save at least one life, maybe.
Well, unless you know how to stitch an artery. That's gonna be a tough one.
military service.
Yeah, they probably
Even in
need a little bit of
1920s,
they
in
need
army they
surgery in
teach
order.
basics of how.
It needs to be surgically stitched. You know, I'm not sure that that's something you can do at a diner.
Um, even in 1920s, the first aid course would include, I'm going to use expression, training on how to stop the bleeding from arterial bleeding. What the fuck is wrong?
Okay, so let's go ahead and say that the
It
diner
would
has a first aid
it,
stick. I mean,
it wouldn't save anyone on long term, but it would buy time.
okay, that's what I'm saying. So let's say that the diner has a first aid kit. One. So I mean, at least a diner, right? And most likely, if you have a first aid kit, you definitely most likely are not gonna have two because you wouldn't really expect to use it. You just have it just in case. So, um, but let's say that they do have it. Okay, so potentially, most things that come in a first aid kit at the in the best of the times they give you up to like about maybe three things to use. So let's roll, see how many you're able to stitch.
One at most.
Hold on, no.
I mean,
I
it depends on
mistyped.
the size of the first aid kit.
There you go.
I've seen
So
the
you
small
get
ones that are barely enough
three
to feed
different
one person.
three different of those things that you can try to assist the people. So go ahead and roll first aid 3 times. See how you do.
A second to find first aid. One is an absolute failure.
All right.
The other one is a success. And I think it's just bleeding. Someone's bleeding, which is good.
All right. So the police shows up eventually, and they walk inside and they say nobody leaves, please, and uh, you know they see you guys, some of you guys outside. So like, what happened? What happened? Hi, my name is Detective Mahoney. Um, and they look at you, Red Wolf. And they said, "And were you inside when this happened?"
I sure was, and like half the people just suddenly stood up and with a fork or knife or whatever, and just attacked the person they were with. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. It's like they were in some sort of stupor or something, and then they just picked up a weapon or a utensil and just started stabbing the person that was next to him, closest to him.
Would you say that maybe something happened that caused them to have an argument?
All at the same time? Not likely.
No, you
One
didn't hear
couple
them
was.
arguing or anything around you.
I saw a couple people unhappy, but not unhappy enough to stab the person across from the table.
Okay, okay, I see. So it was very, very surprising, right?
Well, to say the least, we were shocked.
You didn't hear any screaming, any shouting, any threats being shouted, any physical altercations that kind of led to that. You didn't see any of that, right?
No, none.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your statement. And what is your name?
My name's Sam West. I'm a journalist.
Oh,
Here's my
oh,
card.
yeah. Thank you very much. All right. So yeah. I mean, and he was with you, right? And pointing at Arlene's character.
Absolutely. We were me and the Rayan and the doctor over there helping people. We were all at the same table.
Oh, okay. All right, perfect. Well, it is very nice to meet you, and ultimately, if we need you, um, actually, you know what? Right now, this is a little chaotic at the moment, but if you could please just maybe stop by later on, to by the police station, maybe around maybe in an hour or two. Maybe if I have some more questions at that time, I can ask you. Otherwise, I can have you picked up somewhere and brought you to the police
Yeah,
station.
I mean, I could probably do that. Well, I mean, what's your precinct?
Yeah, I mean, our precinct is it's over here about 2 blocks that way. So if you can just maybe in 2 hours stop by, and if I have any other questions at that point, I can ask you again. It's really hard for me to be able to have a formal discussion with you when I just showed up and I haven't looked inside. But in case I have more questions, I like to have somebody that I can ask that wasn't necessarily involved into what just happened.
I understand. Not a problem.
Great, appreciate it. Thank you very much. And obviously, as you may know, please do not leave town because ultimately you are a witness. So.
Are you kidding with how much work I miss? There's just not work for everybody right now. I wouldn't leave if you paid me.
Okay, good, good. Okay, that's even better. I just gotta say it because even though you're not under arrest and you're not under any trouble whatsoever, but this is still an open investigation. So, and you're a witness, so therefore, I kind of need you to stick around.
Not a problem.
All right, thank you. And he goes inside. He's like, "Oh my God, this is worse than I thought." There's blood everywhere on the floor, on the tables, the windows. Um, some maybe even on the ceiling. Um, the all the food that are over the counter are covered in blood too. It's a real bad mess in there. So a little bit of time goes by, and I don't know if you guys should stick around or leave. A little bit of time goes
Once
by, and the ambulance arrives. When the ambulance arrives, obviously there's a lot of people are dead. It doesn't really matter how many, but they're dead. So they go like, well, you know what? Let's just try to concentrate on the people that are surviving, and try to bring those out first, and get them to the hospital, and everybody else can be picked up later. So 11 people die ultimately.
Ooh.
One survives. So one person is taken to the hospital. And as they're loading the one person into the ambulance, go ahead and roll listen. Everybody. Wow. All right. So you hear one of them say, well, I guess this is becoming more and more common. They're probably going to be sending them all to the asylum like they did last time. I mean, it's crazy. And they just get in the ambulance, and they just take off. So, there's another truck shows up, and they just pick up the bodies, and those are going to the morgue. Ultimately, the police officers ultimately arrest everybody inside. Ultimately, whether they liked it or not, whatever, They're all guilty of murder. So they bring them to the precinct. Slowly but surely, in the length of maybe an hour to an hour and a half. Is there anything you guys like to do up to that point?
I would have been trying to save people, and once everybody was dead and they were collecting the bodies, I'd just be leaning up against the wall, smoking a cigarette, looking a bit dazed.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so then the time comes up where you guys have to meet the police officer at this station. Do you all three go?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this, we, we get. He wants to get this over and done with.
Well, the police officer kind of looks at you. Is like, wow, I am in shock, really. I mean, I don't know what's going on. Truth be told, I am surprised, but so many things. This town never ceases to amaze me. He says, for one, I'm looking at the only three people that were sitting over there by a table that were not necessarily affected in the slightest by whatever happened. But for two, this has been happening for months now. I mean, not necessarily at a diner, and not necessarily so many people at the same time. But we've been arresting people left and right at their own personal homes from somebody killing somebody else. Which, when you have only one person killing somebody else, it's not necessarily that weird. People hate each other. It comes to a point that, in a lot of unhappy marriages, there's always one person that dreams with killing the other. And when you go to arrest them and all that, you just think, okay, well, ultimately that's what happened. They stayed longer than they needed together, and therefore, one just had enough, and that's what happened. But when something like this happens at a diner with 12 different people at the same time, it's like just so odd. And obviously I'm not blaming you in any kind of way, because you have nothing to do with anything that happened before. You just happen to be there. It's just very, very odd. But nonetheless, I was wondering if there's anything at all that maybe you guys saw, that maybe you recall now after a while that you guys have been out there, and maybe remember, or maybe anything you think you might have seen, or maybe any kind of clues whatsoever that might have led to this. I mean, I really don't know what's going on. There's so many weird stuff happening around here lately.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What about you? Is there any commonalities between the crime scenes? Is there?
Well, I can't really discuss an open investigation with you, but that's why I called you here to ask you, if you notice anything that maybe you were not necessarily so aware at first when we spoke, but that maybe now you are, and you're able to share.
Not that I can recall.
Because ultimately, the way this looks, this is going to end up exactly like the previous ones. We're going to, we arrested them. They're all going to get trialed, and they're all going to be sent to the asylum ultimately, because they all stick to the same story, that they don't remember anything. They don't know anything. Magically, somebody goes, kills somebody, and then don't remember what happened. It's amazing how things work. Everybody's innocent.
As crazy as it sounds, the only thing that sticks in my mind was the radio station. It was playing jazz, It's not all that common. And the waitress said that some people have been complaining about it. I don't know how radio would do this, but it's different than everywhere else.
Well, I don't think I've ever heard of seen music killing anybody. I mean, obviously, we all have different tastes, and we may be able to think that some sort of music style is killing or killer. But from there to actually make somebody stand up and stab anybody else, then again, I don't remember anybody before stating from the previous cases that there was any type of music related to it. I mean, maybe there was, but it wasn't brought up. You know, at least nobody made any kind of statements about it. Um, it's very different, very strange. But you know what? I know that you're a journalist, so I'm not necessarily sure what's gonna happen now. But ultimately, you won't be able to talk to any of these people now because they're all awaiting trial and whatnot. But granted that I am not necessarily encourage you to do or not to do anything, but if you want to ever follow up on things, especially on cases that are currently closed that I might not have the ability to follow up on, most of those people are at the asylum right now. Those that are alive, at least, the asylum. So, just saying,
You want us
just putting
to
that out
go
there.
talk with them, then talk with you
Uh,
to speed up the
no, I
process
mean
for
you
you.
you can come talk to me if you want. If you have something maybe to share about anything about what's going on, but you know, I'm just saying he's a journalist, so sometimes journalists like to look into things. Sometimes they don't. My unfortunately my part of the investigation, ends with the arrest and charging somebody with the crime. After that, I don't really have anything to do with anything else. You know, crime solved at that point. You know, it's up to the judge, and then for the person to go fulfill their conviction, whatever they have to go. But it just seems to be oddly coincidental. What seems to be happening. I mean, wouldn't you agree with that? Don't you think that seems to be like very very
Well,
strange?
well, how many times has this happened? Can you say that much?
Yeah, no, no, definitely that I can tell you. So far this, I mean, counting this 12 or
Yeah, counting this event.
counting this, I want to say about 32 times. This is just
It
the
wasn't
first
groups of
time that it
people.
happens in a public place and so many people at the same time. It's always just one person killing the other.
If it was always just one person before, how do you know it was weird and not just a murder?
Well, so let's say that you work for the police, he says, and let's say that normally your typical crimes are, maybe theft, petty theft, or maybe somebody not necessarily following the law when it comes to drinking. Um, but then again, all of a sudden you're called about a murder. and you go check, and a spouse that doesn't remember anything stabbed their spouse. The guy's dead. But then the week after, the same thing happens. And then the week after, it happens again. Maybe 2 times. And then the week after, it happens again. And again. And again. And again. And now we're not talking about heart attacks. Now we're not talking about the flu. Now we're not talking about anything that will cause a natural death. Now we're talking about the same crime being committed over and over and over in the same fashion. If anything, I would say that kind of things seem to be escalating. I mean, wouldn't you say that there's a pattern here?
I would say that, but that's what we're trying to figure out. Are they all being taken to the same mental hospital?
Yeah, they all end up in Arkham, in Arkham Asylum. Right here. And you guys right now will be probably, I want to say, well, I can't really pinpoint right now on the map a police station, but I want to say somewhere around here. You will be in this area of town. So, this is, I'm not necessarily telling you to look into anything or not to look into anything or do something or not do anything. I'm just saying if you happen to look into things because maybe you just decide that, oh, there's a story here. I might be able to make some money out of this, and maybe if you do and you find anything out, you let me know, and we can try to see if our convictions are done correctly or if maybe we are just having to change things.
Well, there's a lot of information to take in.
Oh yeah,
like to talk
definitely.
to my friends here.
Tell me about it. What I can tell you is that he looks to one side, he looks to the other, and opens a drawer from his desk and pulls a notebook out. He's like, what I can tell you is this, and you are not getting this information from me, he says. But so far, out of all those people that we arrested and we sent to Arkham, there's only 2 of them left alive. Everybody in Arkham seems to be dying out of the most strange circumstances. And even before they were dying, we had other people die. So I'm not necessarily sure if the asylum needs replenishing, but something's happening.
It sounds like it.
And he grabs that notebook and puts it back in the drawer. As the captain walks by, and he sees one of you that is still covered in blood, definitely Arrow's character. He says, "Oh, you must be one of the people over there helping at at that diner. I gotta tell you, I want to thank you very much for your service. It's really appreciated. Super sad what happened. I don't necessarily know exactly what took place there, but I guess people are just crazy, you know. Who's to tell you that you got your loved one over there, and then all of a sudden you just wake up one day and that person is out to get you? It's scary."
Yeah, here to help. I appreciate the thanks. And yeah, it is real scary. Yeah, you never know what people will do sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Things are crazy.
weird.
So anyway, let me get out of your way. And I do want to thank you very much for coming and helping over here, Deputy Johnson. But if you happen to remember anything else at any time, if you happen to come up with any kind of information, by all means, please let us know. Ultimately, we will be most definitely questioning all the surviving family members, and anybody else that might have been at those tables. But other than that, that's where the investigation probably will land, considering that as of right now, everybody's guilty. There's just no denying that.
But by reason of insanity, though, possibly.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's just kind of sad because we can't really send anybody to jail properly. I mean, to prison properly. So I don't know what's going on. It's super weird when so many crimes happen at the same time in the same way, and yet they're all crazy. It does seem to be crazy. By the way, you guys were here at the diner. So the police department. Oh, I found the police department. Look at that. Yeah. Diner here, police department right here. Boom.
So we can. I'm saying this after the cop leaves. We could check with the waitress to see what station the radio was on, just to rule out that maybe something funky was going on with the music. But if that was the case, why didn't it affect us?
I don't know.
Maybe it's only meant to affect people with strong emotional connections.
Possible.
Maybe it was in the food. I don't know. Maybe they ate something we didn't.
Could be. We can check that too with the waitress.
I guess depending on the kind of restaurant, maybe they had an Irish coffee, and it's something in the moonshine.
There had to be some strong something in that moonshine. They hit 12 people.
Yeah.
But yeah, totally get it. So yeah. All right. So where do you guys want to go to?
Probably
What do you guys
the
wanna do?
asylum.
I'm sorry.
The asylum sounds like our best bet. I mean, we could always check the scene, but I'm assuming it's a crime scene and they're not just going to let us back.
Could be.
But if they're doing some sort of if something music wise is happening, we need to get something that we can plug our ears pretty quickly, just in case. I know it sounds paranoid, but at this point, anything could happen.
I mean, if I can restock my medical supplies, I don't want to carry it with me. And maybe like stuff cotton bandages in your ears.
Yeah, cotton balls and whatnot.
Yeah.
You think that this is purely sound based?
Well, I don't know. In the this jazz music is, it's not something group people listen to. And I want to be clear, me as a player doesn't think that, but in the 1920s, jazz music was associated with black people, and I'm a white doctor.
Yeah, well,
I mean, considering all the madness we already experienced,
I mean, okay, so
I wouldn't say it's impossible.
where to then?
I defer
Diner
to you guys.
or Asylum or anywhere else?
Let's go to the diner.
Okay. So you guys leave the police station. When you get to the diner, the diner is kind of close to the public. It's got that yellow band, like not allowing people in. But it's got people inside. The owner of the diner is trying to set everything up because ultimately they got all the food and stuff inside, and they're not necessarily messing with the area where the crime was committed, but they are on the back of the diner working. So that will be like back here in the back of the building. So, I mean, you guys can always go around and try to enter the diner from the back.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Alright. So you guys go around. And once you get there, the back door is open. Because, they're just working. And they look back and it's like, oh wait, who are you? What do you want? Hold on, wait, didn't I see you before?
I'm sorry, who's this?
The diner's owner.
Yeah, we were in here earlier. We were just wanting to ask a couple questions about what happened.
Oh yeah, you were that fellow that was helping the people here. Unfortunately, most people die, but yeah, you're that guy. Yeah, I got it. And you were the one trying to stitch people out that ultimately ended up making the holes even bigger and they bled faster. But okay, so what can I help you with?
Um, uh, the I know this is a weird question, but the music station that was playing on the radio, do you ever change that channel, or you just listen to the same station?
No, I mean, jazz has become more and more popular these days, and and I am trying to just keep something neutral, that a lot of people are not gonna like or hate at the same time. I mean, if they like it, great, but if they don't, at least something they don't hate. And it seems to be pretty standard. So normally I just keep the radio station. I mean, I always have somebody asking to change it, but it's only one person or two at the most. No, I don't. So to answer your question, normally we try to keep to the same station. We don't even touch the radio. I have told my waitress to ask people that if they wanted to have it changed, that they could ask. Ultimately, if they have a very good reason, I will change it. But unless they have a very good reason, I'm not playing it. I like that music. It's very smooth, and it's not something that ultimately gets you tired after a while. So something I can handle for 8 to 10 hours a day.
All right, so I asked him what station it was, and then I'll just write it
Oh
down.
yeah, it's the local jazz station.
Okay, so I'll write down whatever that Hertz station is.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever that is.
All right. So he says, anything else you guys need? I mean, we're not serving food right now,
Any of your employees, like the cook or anybody else, are they new or have they been around for a while?
though. No, they all been here for a while. We're pretty popular in town. A lot of people come. They like how we
Did you
make our
change?
food.
Did you change any distributors recently?
No, not really. Why?
We're just, we're just trying to understand what happened and wondering if maybe it was something in the food.
Oh. Well, it is my understanding, based on what's appearing on the newspapers, that a lot of people have had this terrible experience. I'm not necessarily sure as to how many people have at this point in time, but I don't think I've ever heard of something like this happen to 12 different people. That would have been some really, really strong that should have happened to with the food, and at the same time, we've been serving the same kind of food for days now. We only replenish our food supply during Monday mornings, and then during the week we only replenish what we need. You if we run out, like let's say for example that everybody just all of a sudden comes and they ask for eggs more than usual, then we may run out of eggs by I don't know Thursday, Friday. When the weekends definitely are our heaviest day of making eggs. A lot of people come for breakfast. But otherwise, if everything goes normal, our eggs should last till Sunday. So, and that's just an example. However, every week we do run, out of something. Sometimes it's not the same. We try to plan ahead for things, but ultimately it is a restaurant. In a restaurant, granted that you can plan ahead for having so many people come in, but every once in a while you have certain times where more people might suddenly come, especially if you have tourists and whatnot. So there anything else I can answer for you?
Oh, I think I'm square.
Okay. Well,
Me too.
I'm happy to help in any kind of way. You know, if I see anything strange, definitely I will let the police know or whatever. But so far, this is a first for us, and hopefully a last one. I'm actually hoping that this occurrence will not hurt my business. You know, I don't want people thinking that by coming to eat over here that they're gonna be killing anybody.
Unlikely.
Well,
I genuinely don't think it's going to be an issue, but it will be. It will definitely be hectic a couple of days.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you for stopping by, and if you need anything, by all means, I'm here to assist you. And he goes back to work.
What time of day is it?
What time of the day is? Well, right now
Yeah.
will be around probably 1 o'clock, 1 p.m.
You guys have any personal business to take care of? I mean, I know, Doctor, you got a practice to run. Did you want to go to the meet up again someplace else for breakfast, and then think about going to the mental health hospital?
I mean, it's the weekend. I typically do my work on the weekdays. I don't really need to go back to my practice, but if you guys are busy, we can meet up tomorrow. I sort of just want to figure this out. So maybe go today.
All right, I mean, I'm good to go. The quicker we get it done, the quicker I can move on to something else.
Yeah. And, you're hoping to gather up survivors of these kinds of events. So we got at least one, right, in the hospital? For the time
Yes.
being, anyways.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. They're dying, so we need to get to the hospital quickly before more people die, and maybe try to figure out what's going on.
So, hospital or asylum? I want to leave it up to the private detective, journalist, whatever you are.
Well, I was thinking the police can't watch all. I mean, there's out of the victims that survived, they were. GM, did the victims stand up or no?
I'm sorry. Did the victim what? Victims what?
Did the victims stand up?
No.
Or no.
No, they died. They just died sitting over there on the spot.
And it was random, men and women. It didn't matter,
Yep.
right?
It didn't matter the gender.
Could we get the sense that there was a tendency for the more aggressive side of things to have been stood up or to be the victims? Because there's a couple people arguing.
Well, if you want to go by that, it didn't seem that during that argument that the more aggressive side was the one that got up. But you will be making that assumption based on whoever you had right next to you. Not necessarily 100% applying to everybody else because you just don't know exactly what happened to everybody else.
So, but it's the ones that go to the asylum, the aggressors that are getting killed, are dying.
Mm-hmm.
Dying.
Did they go? I believe they went straight to the asylum because they were unharmed. So I don't know. My money is on getting there as fast as possible before people start dying.
Get him where?
To the asylum.
Okay. All right. So, are you
Arlen,
guys?
do you have a vote on where we
Oh,
go?
but before, okay, so I got an idea. Before we go
Let's travel
and
through
leave
time.
the owner, before we go and leave the owner, though, I'd like to have him give me the name of somebody who had a bill, who who had paid and just hadn't left yet, because I need to know their name.
And
For the diner,
so
the people in the diner.
the owner cannot necessarily give you that, mainly because you don't have any authority to ask for it. You're not a cop, and at the same time, if you go ahead and roll intelligence, let's make this legit.
Is it intelligence or psychology?
No, intelligence.
Or
Okay. So the owner will just simply tell you that he cannot give you that. Those records are private. Yeah, about who goes and pays the bill it's private. Although, that being said, if anybody else wants to roll intelligence, since you're all there, might as well.
no? Well, I think we all. What I'm thinking about doing though is taking a $20 bill out of my pocket.
Okay, but hold on. So, Arrow and Arlian, you guys pretty much figured out that even if he gives you the name of somebody that has paid a bill, that really is not gonna get you anywhere because most of the people, nobody have paid any bills over there out of the victims. I mean, out of the people that got attacked. They were still eating. They were still, you know, consuming food. None of them had their bill brought to them. So maybe the owner can give you, in the best of the cases, if you hand them a $20 bill, and he wants to be a little crooky on that side, he can probably hand you the name and information from a previous customer that was not necessarily
No, but what about
having anything to do with that.
what about a regular? Why wouldn't he know the names of those?
A regular customer?
I mean, diners are often frequented by regulars, and they know their name. I mean,
So
he
you're
probably
saying
saw
in
some
case there was a
eat.
regular at the time when you showed up, when this was happening.
Correct.
I see. I see. All right. Well, let's figure it out if there was any regulars. Hold on. All right. 3 regulars.
So I asked him for one of those names,
Okay.
and I kind of
And
dangled
he
that
tells you,
$20 bill.
he tells you that unfortunately he cannot give you that. So what you want to do is with the $20 bill, you want to roll. Hold on. You want to roll persuade with your $20 bill.
Yeah, I don't have it really.
Okay. If you don't have it, you can always try. And this wouldn't necessarily involve a $20 bill, but it will involve intimidate. You can try to intimidate the guy.
I don't have any. Yeah, I don't have any of those personable skills at all.
Right. So then unfortunately, no. You're SOL with that.
Okay, I just was gonna try it. It's fine.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a great idea. I mean, it worked. Ultimately, I don't blame you because you're using a character from the previous campaign, so he may not necessarily have the same skills required for this one, but it's good enough anyway.
You know, it's funny, if I use the character I just made, that would have worked out fine.
Hey, to each their own. We all make decisions.
I know, it's just, well, that's the thing. You can never outfit the character for everything. So,
Yeah.
And I'm definitely not that. This guy is not that.
No, it's all good.
He's good at investigation, not sweet talking people. I mean, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. All right, so where to, or what's next?
The asylum, but Arleon, you've been kind of quiet. Is your mic working? I'm getting like a weird feedback. I don't know if like there's a weird audio issue.
Is it me? Did you say me?
No,
No,
Arleon.
Arleon.
What did you hear?
Oh, sorry. I was just checking that like you were talking and we weren't hearing you or something. You were quiet longer than normal, and I thought I heard it. Like an echo.
No, I have used the expression sick or a bad habit for when I'm tired, nervous, or any number of things where I produce these clicking sounds. So maybe that triggered the mic.
Oh, okay. No problem.
All right, so okay, so to the asylum. Give me just a second. I'm trying to figure it out if there's a way that you guys can. There is a way that I can possibly give you anything else, but I think it will be stuff that you're gonna have to end up asking for.
See, the problem with that is that they won't be obligated to tell us anything. I mean, they just won't. And I was trying to get.
Well, you're a journalist. You can go inquiring and things. But you know, ultimately, yeah, that's. But okay, so you go into the asylum. After a very short drive, so ultimately, you know, you go from here to here. You get to the asylum. The asylum has this opening because ultimately you. Oh my god. Okay, you go through here, and there's a gate, and you enter it, and this whole area is the asylum itself, the building. So the entrance is from the side road, North Peabody Avenue. You get to the asylum. It's got some parking spots, and then there's this front area of the building where you see that it's got windows. Most of those windows are barred. From there, if you're standing outside, you can see the place looks very Tudor style. You see nurses walking around. You see stations. It looks fairly clean. The door is definitely vaulted, and it just by looking at it from outside, it looks fairly heavy. So I'm assuming you get out of the car, and you walk to the door. There's some stairs over there that you go up, wooden stairs, very very new. Also, it's almost like it's being renovated, or it got renovated, or something happened. But most of the stuff looks tippy top quality. And so you're there. Do you want to knock? What do you want to do?
Well, Dr. Bird's got credentials.
Yeah. Okay. I'll knock.
All right. And and a nurse comes to the door, opens the door, cracks the door open, and she's like, "Yes, can I help you?"
Yes, we're here to check on some of the patients that may have just been delivered. Kind of an odd event we're investigating. May we come in?
Are you family?
No, I'm Dr. Bird, MD. I have a practice outside of Arkham.
Yeah,
Hmm,
some of these
I
are
see.
patients.
I see.
I
I
just
see.
kind
I
of
see.
throw that in there
Well,
really
I'm gonna
quick.
tell you this. Because normally we only allow family to come check in unless if anybody else wants to talk to the family members, they need to. I mean, with the residents. Sorry, they normally have to ask permission of whoever is legally responsible for them. But please come in. She opens the door and she gets behind the reception and she pulls a piece of paper and she's like, and I'm sorry, what did you say your name is?
Dr. August Bird, MD.
I see. I see. Okay. All right. And who are they?
My name is Sam West. I'm a journalist with the Globe,
Oh, a
and let me.
journalist in Asylum. We are, aren't we lucky? That's nice. And who are you, fella?
Um, name is Ryan, and
He's my assistant.
um I'm a friend, so to speak.
I'm sorry. You're what?
He's my assistant. Right, Ryan? I give you a look. Like, come on, play along.
I'm his assistant,
Oh, okay.
although sometimes times times I think it's closer to being friends, but you never know with this guy.
Huh. That's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Um, and the receptionist says, "You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to reach out to a Dr. Lango. She's the director over here, and the ward, if you will, and let her know that you guys are here. Maybe she is able to make a special, uh, decision or when it comes to you guys being able to see the members. Because ultimately, I don't have authority to let you through. But at least if I let her know, maybe she wants to meet you, or maybe there's something that she can do for you. Because there's really nothing I can do for you. So she goes out the door, and and she's like, before she leaves, she's like, "Please wait over here. I'll be right back." And she opens a set of double doors that is currently locked, and crosses it, and on her way she goes with a piece of paper with the names. Anything you guys want to do while you wait?
I don't know. Not really.
No. Okay. All right. So a little time goes by, and she comes back, and she says, "Oh, she'll be here momentarily." And you see that she doesn't feel very good. Her eyes are red.
You feeling alright?
Uh,
You look a little.
so, um, I'm just a little stressed out. That's all. This job is not. It's not so easy.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Are you feeling sweats and chills at all? Uh, Concerned it may be contagious. Your eyes are a little bit more
No,
red.
no, I'm just feeling a little sad. That's all.
Ah,
So the director
well,
comes in,
unfortunately,
opens the door. You see this red-headed woman. She is on her 50s. She doesn't necessarily look like your typical 50-year-old woman. She looks like somebody that is very well taken care of, um, physically at least. Um, she walks in. She's like, "Oh, welcome, welcome. I'll be right with you." And she goes behind the counter, looks at her, at the receptionist, and very quietly she tells her, "Look, next time, if you know that the rule says that only family members can see their family unless there's special permissions, and that they need to contact the family members for those special permissions, maybe you tell them to go contact the family members instead of bothering me when I'm already working. You know, I know you're useless, but you don't need to make me become useless like you by wasting my time and explaining the same thing that you can't explain." And then
Whoa.
she turns around. She gets out of the reception, comes to you, and says, like, "Well, it's very nice to meet you. I understand that one of you is also a practicing doctor."
yes, it's me, Dr. August Bird, MD. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance.
Very nice to meet you. I am sorry that you guys had to deal with the incompetence of my staff. But ultimately, we hire the best we can. Or well, from what we have available, that is. But please, considering that there's a fellow physician, please come with me. Let's go to my office so we can talk a little bit and find out exactly what it is that you guys are doing over here. So she starts walking, open the double doors, and do you guys follow?
Yes.
So technically now we're inside the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Once they, yep. Okay.
Yep.
Just
You
making sure.
go up a set of stairs, and her office is right there. It's the only thing on that part of the building, just her office. You enter the office, and the office is truly gigantic. It has to be at least half a story big, like half a story of that first part of the building. And I mean, when you go in, it's quite the view. She's got some couches there that you can sit on, and she invites you to sit there. She says, "Please, please, sit down." There's a very, very antique desk. Go ahead and roll spot hidden from where you're at. Hey, Arlian,
Hmm?
roll spot hidden, please.
Sorry. Give me a second.
Got a
Sorry.
wakey.
It's not. I mean,
Wakey.
fair enough. It's nearly
Eggs and
2 a.m. Hello?
We hear you. We hear you. All right, so Red Wolf, your character can spot over the desk a very, very distinctive, well, one over the desk, a very distinctive statue of some sort of creature that seems to have at least two pair of arms, and he looks sort of like a dark zombie of sorts, kind of like the third image that I put on the Discord for the preview today. Um, Also, then you see another statue. The other statue is very similar to the creature that you've seen on the previous campaign. Very similar. You could have sworn it's the same. Arlian, you can see from there that there is a very vast library that she has over there with many different interesting books, not to say the least. And from where you are, you can spot a 1d6 books at least. Go ahead and roll 1d6. Wow. Okay, roll it again. Let's make it better. Wow. Okay.
It got a little better.
Yeah. Sure. So you spot that, that, and that. So the Book of
Does anybody
Ivan,
have a bag?
you spot another book kind of strange that calls your attention. Apartments of the Gnome. The Apartments of the Gnome. Okay. And then The King in Yellow, which is definitely not a book that you would just find laying around. And then on the side of the couch where
Out
you're
of
sitting,
character.
I'm sorry.
Out of character.
Yeah.
Get me the hell away from the King in Yellow book.
Okay.
Out of the character.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
On the there's a nightstand and a coffee table in front of the couch where you guys are sitting. So ultimately, there's a couch, and then in front of the couch, there's two individual chairs where you guys can sit, whether on the couch or the individual chairs. But right next to the couch on the table that's got the lamp on it, there's also a third book. And for that one, you don't have to roll because that book is there regardless if you find it or not. Also, there seems to be a book right next to it about psychology. And, the rest of the books in the library, they seem to be about psychology and things like that. And insanity and anatomy and whatnot. And, typical stuff. There's a diagram on the wall framed of somebody getting electroshock and how the process pretty much is described, and it's kind of like a poster, and how it affects their body. Very, very little and very revealing. So, what do you guys do, if anything?
And she left the room, right?
No, she's there. She's 100% there.
So this the statue is interesting. Where would someone go to get something like this?
Oh, truth be told, I don't know where somebody will go to get something like this. She says these are all gifts that the families of our residents ultimately bring in for me for such good care that I take of them. Um, Ultimately, unfortunately, people only last so long. Once it is very very true that the mind and the brain is everything. Once your mind or brain dies, then unfortunately your body's gonna die too. Your body cannot survive without your brain, and unfortunately, once people fall into this spiral of going through things that they have no control of, and they unfortunately start going crazier. Once they go crazy, they come here, and as much as we try to work with them to get them better, but it's really really hard. I mean, we do have top of the line treatments, and I am somebody that swears by the electroshock therapy, but ultimately, people can only survive so much. Lately, we have lost quite a few patients here, and not necessarily due to the electroshock therapy. Some people did just got into fights, with others. It's very very common that when they get together, sometimes they kill each other, or I mean, in fights, or somebody is crazy, and we have to give him a dose of certain medicine, and unfortunately they have some sort of underlying condition that the medicine is just affecting them in a way that they just pass away.
Yeah, but that's been happening a lot, though. It's not just a few people; it's a lot of people.
I mean, considering how bad, what the bad condition the people are that they come here, yeah, I mean, you can say that. And those of you that don't necessarily come in bad conditions, unfortunately, once they start treatment, the electric shock therapy takes a really big toll on the body too. I mean, it's not
So you're
something.
advocating healthy people entering this facility and dying because of a treatment that you're giving them. I would say that the treatment is worse than any cure could possibly give
Well,
them.
no, not
Don't
not
you think?
necessarily. No, not everybody dies. We do have plenty of residents that we have managed to cure and have rejoined society. We do have plenty of residents that are still undergoing treatment, and then we have those that unfortunately are not able to withstand the treatment. It's like anything, and I will argue that anybody that comes here is not necessarily because they're healthy. If they come here, is because they are not healthy. Now, it may not necessarily be that they are not physically healthy, or I should say, they're not physically unhealthy, but they're surely psychologically unhealthy.
True, but out of these types of cases, and I talked to some police officers about this earlier, everyone involved in a similar event that happened at this diner that came here, all of those people, all of those aggressors that stabbed people or harmed people, not only were they healthy physically coming into this place, they were all part of these events and they all have died up to now. So you don't think that that's kind of a coincidence?
Well,
But
it
my
surely
friend has
is.
admitted it.
However, you're not necessarily being told how they died. You're just based on the fact that maybe they just came here, and we gave them electroshock therapy and they died because their brain got fried, or that they died because, I don't know, they just stopped breathing. And that's not necessarily the case. As I was mentioning, we have plenty of people that they get into fights with one another, and they just die because ultimately, you know, that's what crazy people do. Some other people they just do stupid stuff and they die. Like we had somebody that they stabbed themselves on the neck and they die. We had somebody that decided to fight somebody else, and that other crazy person unfortunately overpowered him and smashed his head on the ground repeated times until you could see the brain
Okay,
coming out.
so so apart from the electrical shocks, your hospital is also very unsafe if you're a patient. Is that what you're trying to tell me? I mean,
No,
I'm hearing other
I am
excuses.
saying that people die for different reasons and accidents happen everywhere. Obviously, we try our best to minimize those occurrences, but unfortunately, in the times that we live, we have this facility is considered state of the art, and we do have the most advanced treatments at this point in time that we are trying for our citizens and our residents. Uh, I mean, there's really no better place to go than here, and no better service that any of them will receive than what they will get in this facility. So I'm not necessarily understanding as to what is it that you're suggesting exactly. I mean, are you
I'm
speaking about
suggesting
somebody in
that
particular? Are you suggesting that maybe we do a different treatment? And if you are suggesting that we do a different treatment, what would that treatment be?
I am quite surprised you're not using lobotomy, considering how many violent patients you've been
Well,
intaking.
no. Once the patients get violent enough, we do lobotomize them. But normally by that time, normally nobody speaks about the patient that got lobotomized. Everybody speaks about the other patient that got killed. And if you don't
True.
believe me, you can look at your the person that's sitting right next to you. Then that's pretty much what he's referring to.
But I need to ask, aren't ultimately those that go through lobotomy for essentially brain dead after the procedure
What is
if
the
they survive it?
procedure? Is that what you're asking?
Lobotomy.
Yeah. What is the procedure for that?
no,
I
do they survive?
Yeah, no, they do survive it. It's very simple. It's a very simple procedure, and it's probably a lot less um, a lot less painful than the electroshock therapy. Truth be told, um, all we do is we just make a little hole on the head and insert a tool doing a little bit of damage to an area of the brain, and the patient just um, loses the will to fight.
or be alive without
Well, no, I
permanent,
mean they don't
without constant
necessarily
care.
know. I mean, in a way, you could say that they don't necessarily know anymore what being alive or dead is. They become very complacent. They become very chill, very relaxed. Um, so
And they can no longer live without a constant medical care, which you just so happen
well,
to
yeah, but
survive.
unfortunately, we live in unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, and the point that you are trying to prove at this time is the fact that we can take life or death on our hands and decide that somebody needs to die. If you have an issue with somebody getting lobotomized instead of just killed, maybe you should take that to the courts. Maybe you wanna sue the state. Try to get them to change the laws or whatever. That's not what we do here. But in any case, um, did you? I understand that you were trying to see some of the patients. Are you friends or family of them, or was there a different reason as to why you were to see some patients?
I was on site with the most recent uh, outbreak of violent incidents, and I want to figure out the commonality. I'm concerned that this may spread to my area of practice if it's somehow contagious or provide some preventative care. I want to look into that for my patient.
Preventative care. Well, I mean, everybody, everybody's different, you know. And it's truly impossible to prevent uh, going a little crazy. I think in a way we're all a little crazy. But she says, truthfully, it is. It is. I don't think it's possible to do preventative care when it comes to your mind, mainly because you, at any moment in time, you may see something that it triggers your body, its defense mechanism, and you may just go a little crazy, you know, or that may cause you to lose some sanity. And the perfect example, she says, is, you know, you may see a hawk or an eagle or an owl feeding on some other animal. Let's say, for example, you see an owl feeding itself on a rat, and you may be just fine. You may just say, well, okay, well, that's an owl that it's eating a rat. But then again, you may be somebody a little bit different, somebody that their mind it's a little bit weaker, for whatever reason that is. It could be genetically, or it could be simply that throughout your life you've been through different harsh situations that got your sanity to be extremely on the thin side, and then you see this eagle just eating chunks out of a rat, and then at that point your mind, it was just the drop that the glass could not hold anymore, and at that point you just go crazy, right? And those are the people that sometimes end up just, you know, going into places and just going doing insane things, or killing the innocent, or, you know, whatever. But regardless if they get that far or not, they end up here. And over here we try to help them.
Do you have a list of the different ways that people dies? I'm not looking for names, just maybe kind of a comparison.
A
People died of
list.
electrocution. People died of
No,
of
we don't keep a list, but maybe you want to talk to the morgue. Ultimately, they all go to the morgue.
okay. Would I be able to talk to the mortician?
Yeah, you will have to go to the morgue in town. I believe they are part of the police station. It should be the building next door.
All right, I just might do that. But
Yeah.
the only problem is I don't have a list of the people that died under your care.
Right. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to provide you with patient information. You know that it's a little bit on the no side.
But it's
Um,
not patient information. It's hospital information. The patient's dead. It wouldn't matter to him.
right. So you're trying to get the names of who died?
I'm looking for a correlation between the people that were involved in these events, and there's been 32 or so events, and
32? No, we
the
haven't had 32 people over here that had died recently. I'm sorry.
well, it's been happening over a period of time.
I mean,
It may
what
not just
event
be
are you referring to exactly?
the event the event that the police reported earlier where people in the diner just stood up and simultaneously attacked the person close to them.
Oh well, yeah, that's as uncommon as that might sound. That's just a sign of somebody that has a really hard time dealing with their sanity, right? Then she says because ultimately I tell you what happens. It's very common. I see that. Uh, you're with your significant other. You think everything's fine. Your significant other thinks everything's fine. However, one of you normally are not fine. However, you don't say anything to anybody. You keep it to yourself, and then ultimately, one day you go through a tough situation. Something happens. Something you see, which it could be something super simple or super traumatic. It doesn't really matter, but it triggers that event in your brain, and you just lose yourself. And at that point, you're just your mind just couldn't hold it anymore, and you do what's just in your nature to do. Because I always say that in the moments that you are not yourself, that's who you really are. Because ultimately, once you control yourself, you are holding that back. But in the moments
So
that you're not yourself, that's who you really are. That's who you really the things that you really do. What would you do? That's
yeah,
when it
but we're
comes
not
out.
talking about a stress event. We're talking about a group of people at the same time. I don't ever believe that it's. I don't even think it's possible. I'm not sure why you're saying this, other than maybe you're hiding something. I don't know
Hiding?
that you may be involved somehow in the reasoning that these people are standing up and committing violence. I don't know. It's really weird that you're talking about it like that.
I'm sorry, I can't stand for you accusing another doctor of malpractice like that without evidence. I don't feel comfortable with that.
I
Well,
honestly don't know.
doctor, I turned to Austin. I said, well, would you buy that? That everybody in a diner would do that at the same time, and to give an explanation that there some sort of psycho, uh,
That they just randomly went insane.
all at the
Well,
same
Just
time.
like that.
It's
Everybody did
impossible.
the same thing.
and she
Well,
says,
well, it's very.
well, I like to point
Which
out if
means
you
that
can look over
either
here at the
someone is
wall,
doing a sloppy job
and she says,
or it's something much worse.
if I want to point out, if you can look over here by the wall, and she points out to a framed diploma over there from her college degree, and she says, as you can see, I've been working as a psychologist for quite a while, and I've been running this place for the last 5 years. So, I understand that maybe you don't agree with what I have to tell you, but as in the worst of the cases, at the very least, I have experience and I know what I'm talking about, regardless if you like what I'm saying or not.
You, my apologies, but you really do not sound. Because you're taking a theory and trying to apply it to a practical situation that, by all sense, shouldn't be possible.
Right, and I'm applying
Because,
it to something
please,
that
if you
we've been
know how to
studying
explain
that
it,
happens, and it has been proven that happens. You're more than
to
welcome.
multiple people
You're
at the
more
same
than
time,
welcome to
at the
take
same
everybody
location.
you know that does this kind of work to court. See where that takes you.
I wanted to contact a lot of doctors to hear their opinion.
Of course.
Because
But we all do the same work. So
what
therefore,
you just said makes less sense than somebody getting shot in the head with a shotgun and surviving without their head.
all I'm just saying
Those are
is
jokes.
that I honestly don't know.
I
I
mean,
haven't even seen those
if
people
I
yet that
if
they were
you
at the diner, so I don't necessarily know what happened. And until the time that you came in here, I didn't even know that something happened at a diner because I was super busy until you guys started talking about it. But all I can tell you is this: regardless if it was just one person doing the traumatic event, regardless if it was 12, it's almost impossible for me just by listening to you guys talk about it and without necessarily talking to each of those individual people to find out
wait,
exactly in what state of mind they were when they decided to kill their spouses or whoever they killed.
let let's rewind.
Sure.
You're telling me that the epidemic of seemingly random murders with roughly the same pattern of behavior between everyone involved did not raise any suspicion among anyone who knows about it. Because
Well, not
once
for
again,
me, because again, I
but
wasn't even aware that this happened. So once, for example,
I,
let's
I'm
say, because we're really jumping ahead right now, but let's say, for example, that just to entertain this, let's say that okay, everybody gets trialed, everybody is found guilty, everybody comes here. Then once they come here, or at least once, if they ever call me to go talk to them and find out in what kind of situation their minds are, then I'll be able to say, okay, yeah, you're right, or you're wrong. I don't know. I gotta talk to them first. I gotta find out what's going on. I have not ever met those people, so therefore, I don't know how do we discuss something about somebody that neither of us has ever spoken to.
in that case you may want to hurry because as far as we're informed from the at the police, most of people that were, correct me if I'm wrong, if you can look towards the other two, but most of the people that to whom this happened, who randomly attacked and killed their spouse, they were sentenced and here have died
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of
rather
people come see and
quickly.
dies, and I think that was part of the first conversation that we were having. That unfortunately, not everybody is able to withstand a a long treatment, or those that they are able to withstand the long treatment, unfortunately, have an encounter with someone else, and they end up, killing each other. That's the reason why we try to keep everybody with straight jackets. We try to keep everybody in padded rooms where there's nothing that they can possibly use to hurt themselves. We try to strap people onto their beds. We try to only have people walking around without straight jackets after so long that they are in good behavior. However, you will never guess, but people are also able to lie. So therefore, sometimes it's very common that you have somebody that they have lost quite a bit of their mental capacity and they are a little crazy, but at the same time, they know what they're doing. So they fool us. We are able to talk to them. They seem to be okay. They seem to be normal. They give us the answers that we're looking for. So we start trusting them and we get a straight jacket off of them and whatnot. And then one of the days they just have an issue with someone else, and at that day, unfortunately, their state of mind was not the best, and they just go ahead and they kill somebody, and it just happens. It's impossible to foresee that. And unfortunately, we cannot keep everybody on a straight jacket all the time because part of the recovery is self confidence. And you regain your self confidence once you know that you're doing better, once you know that your freedoms are being given back to you slowly because people start trusting you and so on and so forth. So
Of the record, even in 1920s there were a lot of concerns about treatments in those facilities.
well, yeah,
And a lot of people even then did believe it
I'm sure.
that um,
But you know what?
sorry,
If
brain
you
fart.
if you think that there's any issues whatsoever, she says, um, unless you have a specific name, I don't know who to get you to talk to. However, what I can do for you is I can definitely have you maybe talk to some one of our patients, one of our residents. Would you like to do that?
That would be greatly appreciated.
I would
Very well, no problem. I will go ahead. I will call the charge nurse to come here, and I will tell her to take you to see one of our residents, at least somebody that is capable of speaking and rationally, and that you can have a conversation with. So she grabs the phone and calls. It's like, "Hey, Linda, yeah, come to my office, please." A few minutes after, a knock on the door happens, and she says, "Come in." And this 20-something-year-old nurse just walks in. Blonde long hair, blue eyes, very, very pale skin. She walks in and she's like, "Okay, yes, I'm here." She's like, "Yes, please take this three fantastic gentlemen to see Mr. Wiley. They want to have a conversation. But actually, let me ask you first. Is he doing okay today?" He's like, "No, yeah, he's fine. We haven't had any issues with him in, I don't know, 6 months now." "Perfect. Just take him to talk to him, and everything should be okay." "Okay." So when you guys are getting up, she says, "Well, gentlemen, it's been a real pleasure. I hope whatever questions you have can be answered. And if you ever need me for anything, please make sure you call. You can make an appointment with the receptionist, and I can see you at any time. And if you have any other needs, such as maybe getting some therapy or whatever, we do offer that here. You're more than welcome to come, and I do offer appointments for that too. And I'll be happy to sit with you and talk to you and find out exactly what I can help you with."
the moment we are out of her earshot, who wants to bet that her favorite part of the days are either lobotomy or shock therapy.
All right, so the door opens. Are you guys going?
I'm following them.
Okay, very well.
I'm going.
So you go down the stairs to the first floor. On the first floor, you start walking through a hallway, and at the end of the hallway, there's an elevator. She opens the door to the elevator, and you guys walk in. The elevator closes. It closes with this steel door, and it starts going down. And it goes down about 3 floors. And the nurse says, okay, well, this is our third level. This is where our residents come when they are at the point where they start socializing, they are doing better. And normally we keep them here for about a year, and then after that, once they're doing better, then we get them to the second level, which is the second floor, and we keep them there for another year. And then ultimately, once they get better completely, we move them to the first floor, and then after that, they can be released at any time, unless they have charges, and therefore they'll be staying here. So she says, please follow me. So she starts walking into this hallway. This hallway, let me tell you, the walls are brick walls. The lights are old lights on the side of the walls, white lights. Actually, yellow. There wasn't white light yet. There's doors with little windows on each one of them. If you want to look through one of the windows, you could see how all the residents are just doing weird stuff. Give me just a second.
I'll be back in a minute.
Alright. Alright, no problem. And as you guys, continue walking, the floors don't necessarily seem to be the cleanest, but they're not too bad. The paint in the place is not necessarily fresh. You can imagine by looking at it, it's probably about 15 years old. The bars on the doors, they seem to be rusted. Those doors have been there for a while. You guys hear a scream, really, really loud scream. Go ahead and roll. Just a second, let me tell you what you can roll. Go ahead and roll education, I guess. Yeah, education. All right, Arrow, you go ahead and roll medicine. All right. So in both different ways, both of you are able to or could swear that that scream sounded supernatural, like insanely unnatural, but it still was a scream, meaning that somebody had to have done it. So eventually she gets to the door and she says, oh, I am sorry, some of our residents do scream a lot, especially during the night. They're not able to sleep, so they're traumatized, but they're getting better. So she unlocks the door. You see this gentleman sitting on the bed, and she says, okay, hey, how are you, buddy? You okay? It's like, oh, nurse, yes, I am totally fine, thank you. How are you? I'm doing fantastic. This gentleman would like to have a conversation with you. They would like to ask you a few questions, if that is okay with you. And he says, sure, Sure thing, no problem. Um, and then he, as he says that, he also says, "Will I get rewarded for this?" And the nurse looks at him and says, "What do you mean rewarded?" And he says, "Well, will I be allowed to go up another floor for this?" And the nurse says, "Well, I really don't know. We will have to talk to the ward and see what she has to say. Well, that hasn't been discussed with me, but I'm just gonna stand out here while you have a conversation with them, and then at the end, I'm sure that whenever the ward comes to see you to do her rounds, maybe you can ask her any questions you have." So this person sitting on the bed looks at you three and says, "Hi. What questions do you have?"
Hey, I'm Dr. Bird, and your name was again?
My name is Reginald McCormick.
And does that match the name we were told earlier?
Well, that's my nickname, he said.
Ah.
Although,
What?
depending on who you ask, I may have a different name, as I used to suffer of multiple personalities. So I used to go by many different aliases. Luckily, this facility was able to help me get better.
That was through the electroshock therapy?
Yeah, they did some electroshock therapy with me.
And you would say it was effective?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily suffer those problems that I used to. It did tickle quite a bit.
I got that's an interesting. And are you well looked after here? Are you in pain?
And he looks out the window. He sees the nurse. He's like, "No, yeah, I'm very well looked after. I'm not in pain or anything. I'm perfect. This is a state of the art facility. We know that over here we have good quality of life, and that we have the best chances of getting better."
Good, good. Does your family come and visit you?
No, unfortunately, my family forsaken me.
That's unfortunate. Um, do you have any other questions? And I'll look at the other two.
I don't have any questions right now.
You don't want to ask him, like, what incident brought him here? Or
Nope.
And another nurse shows up outside, and they start talking to the one nurse out there. Whoever is by the door notices that the nurse attention now is on the other nurse. So he looks out, and he looks at you, and he's like, "You guys need to leave. You guys need to leave as quickly as possible." "You are not safe here."
What's that?
Very bad things happen here. Particularly on the fifth on the fifth floor of the basement. That's the therapy floor.
I'll say in a little bit of a raised voice. Well, I can see the treatments are very effective. Thank you for speaking to us. This uh, facility has clearly helped you a lot.
Oh, very much so. Yes, yes, indeed. This facility, without this facility, I don't think I will be able to be as lively as I currently am. This has been a life changing for me.
Nope, I wish you the best. And I turn and I gently push the other two by the shoulders, and we leave the room.
Thank
Okay.
you. You too. All right, and the nurse looks at you and says, "Okay, did you guys get whatever answers you were looking for?"
I did. Yes,
Okay, very well.
it's clear that your facility is very effective. I
Yeah,
don't need to.
no problem. I mean, it's ultimately what we're here for. Um, just a moment. One second. Okay. So the nurse says, "Okay, so let's go to the elevator. Ultimately, I have received a message. I gotta go check some stuff, and then I'll take you back to the ward. Ultimately, this will give you a little bit of a chance to see how things are run over here at the asylum. I mean, I'm not gonna treat anybody or anything like that, but it'll give you a chance to see a little bit more of the building and whatnot. Is that okay?"
Sure.
You know, I appreciate the offer, but I personally don't think it's really necessary after the conversation that I had with the doctor and the testimonial. I'm not really worried anymore. Um,
Well, it will be just a moment. I do have to go, unfortunately, and take care of that, and I cannot have you run the elevator by yourself. So you know, your best option will be to come with. Or I mean, I don't necessarily have any other option that I can offer you at this time.
okay.
All right, so you go to the elevator. She pulls out a key, unlocks the elevator, and the elevator starts heading down. Finally, the door opens up, and the hallway is very well lit. She's like, "Okay, this way." She pulls the key of the elevator. She puts it on her pocket. She's like, "And this is our fifth floor." She says, "This is where our treatment gets conducted. As you can see, we keep the area fairly clean and fairly stable. You don't hear anything out of the ordinary because normally we try to keep everything as steady as possible because we don't want to freak out any of our residents or anything like that. But in any case, I'm here to check on one of the rooms because ultimately there's somebody coming that's gonna be taking treatment, and I want to be sure that everything is being well taken care of."
Peter,
Yeah.
if it's okay, I'd like to. Well, Ryan would be making sure to keep an eye on everything around them, especially so nobody can sneak up on them.
Sure thing. All right. So she starts walking, and she's like, "All right, we're gonna go exactly to the very last room at the end of the hallway. That is pretty much where the new people come, and we start the treatment. And as you can see, the different doors have numbers that they go from high to low, and that's the level of treatment that they need done." Right, so somebody that just comes gets the first level, and then second and third and whatnot. common sense, right? I'm sure somebody as smart as you guys are can figure that out. So she continues walking, and she gets finally to that room. She says, "Okay, well, this is the room where the treatment is being conducted, and ultimately over here is where we're going to bring these new patients. That actually, it's funny because they're right now being registered upstairs, and I'm pretty sure that as you guys get to leave the building, you're gonna get to see them. Um, you know, normally we don't have anybody leaving at the same time that other patients are being registered, but you guys are an exception today. But in any case, so go ahead and roll power.
Power.
Yeah, power. Power. All right. You sense that definitely something is not right at this moment. Something gives you the chills. It's almost the same feeling that you had back then when you encounter that flying creature back then, outside of that barn. The lady opens the door. As she opens the door, you see the ward. The ward is there. She's standing inside of this circle drawn, I don't know, canvas or whatever, and she raises her arms up. She's like, "Witness our treatment," and she says some words, and
Can you shoot her?
So what?
Is it can you shoot her?
Hold on. And after she says that,
Thank you.
a little circle just appears in reality. And now is your time. If you want to shoot her now, you can.
Oh, I'm shooting the crazy bitch.
Okay.
Magic or
I need everybody to roll sanity, by the way. But shoot, you can go ahead and shoot her.
do I roll sanity first or do I roll?
Well, sanity you will roll
Attempt
first,
to
and then
shoot
you
her.
will shoot her. All right, very well. So for this, you don't necessarily lose anything because ultimately, I mean, you just see a little hole on the on reality. You're not necessarily seeing anything bad or good, but maybe go ahead and lose 1 point of salary. Just 1 point for that. It's not gonna affect you in any way. So go ahead and shoot her if you want to shoot her. Unless you want to talk to her or say anything to her or anything like that. But if you do pull your gun
I
out,
think he's pulling his revolver out.
but if you do pull your gun out, she will say, "What are you doing?"
But okay, before we go into this encounter, I want to ask the group, how comfortable are we with player on player conflict? Because the way I would actually roleplay with the character is doing, it's not protected for a cohesive group, and I just
Right.
want to check before.
Because you're a
I
medical
don't-
professional, you think that we're being rude to these people.
Yeah, I'm
Even
very
after
much like.
everything we saw.
Unfortunately, yeah,
Okay.
my character spent like 10 years doing this stuff. You're not gonna overwrite that.
I mean, true, with just one encounter with supernatural, it's not gonna affect the way she think.
Yeah, I just wanted to check because if you're uncomfortable with that, I will tone it down.
No, I mean it's just you still gotta keep them on the fringe, right?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so are you gonna shoot her still, or
I'm first going to see if doctor plans to do anything. Then I'm going to our doctor, not her.
Oh, so you've drawn your
I
gun
still
already?
want to. Yeah, I pretty much literally just draw the revolver.
I am gonna try and take the revolver from you.
okay? Go ahead and roll, bro.
Oh, is it in the combat menu?
No,
Oh, there
the
it is.
brawl, just the regular brawl style. Okay. So yeah, you do
Oh,
manage to
okay.
get the revolver. So now at this point, it will be for both of you to roll strength to see who ends up with the revolver.
Revolver is hers.
Okay. So now both of you roll luck. Okay. All right. So the revolver falls on the ground, and it doesn't necessarily fire itself. So nobody gets hurt, but it falls on the ground.
Are you
Red
fucking
Wolf,
insane?
is there anything that you want to do?
Okay, so how many people are in this room right now?
5. In a hole in
3
reality that keeps getting bigger and bigger.
And does it look like it's anyone's manipulating it or gesturing or controlling it?
What the ward apparently was controlling it.
The ward?
Yep, she's the one that did that spell.
Is there anything like a chair or anything nearby?
No. There is a metal made table, but it seems to be made out of steel. So you're gonna need quite the strength to be able to grab that and handle it.
Is she focusing? Is the ward focusing on the portal?
Well, no, because somebody drew a gun to her, so she said, "What are you doing?" And then
But it's still
the
expanding.
two
But it's
investigators started brawling each other. So at this point, actually, let's see. Hold on a sec. Where is the right here? One moment, please. Oh, come on. I pressed the wrong button. And I did it again. There we go. Ah. And the ward suddenly says, "No! What have you done? This treatment is
Okay.
going to fail. You distracted me at the key moment. And suddenly,
I mean, I keep
the
with really
ward,
planned on summoning the fucking demon.
the ward gets stabbed. You see that something has stabbed her across the body with what seems to be some sort of long flesh made claw or spear, but seems to almost be like an extension, like an arm or something like that. And when you look at it, finally the hole gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you start seeing what's behind it. And this is what seems to be behind it. Let me put it in Discord. Boom, boom, boom. And when you guys get to see that, you do owe me sanity again.
How far is your revolver away from me?
All right. Everybody give me a 1d6, please. Thank you.
I made mine.
No, I mean, sorry. You give me a 1d3.
You say D6 or D5?
D6. All right. No, a red wolf. You only give me. Okay, yeah, 1d3. You're fine. All right. So the shambler stabs the war with one of its back claws, whatever, and makes its way through. As it's make its way through, it grabs the other nurse and also kills her while looking directly at you. What's the plan?
Gonna open fire on this thing as we start backing out of the room.
All right, go for it. Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Finally, campaign got good. Okay. All right. So that was who? Hold on. Who shot? Okay, Red Wolf. Arrow, what do you do?
Arlene, you're reaching for the gun again, right?
You what?
The gun's on the ground.
Yeah.
Did you drop the gun or is it on the ground?
The gun is on the ground. So reaching for the gun will be a turn.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't bring any spares, so.
Okay. So you're gonna grab the gun?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and stop him. Oh, sorry.
Okay. So Arlen.
If you're trying to stop me, I'm attacking.
Oh, okay.
I said good brawl.
So if I understand correctly, Arlen is trying to reach for the gun, and Arrow, you're gonna try to stop him from reaching from the gun, or are you trying to stop Red Wolf from shooting? What is it exactly that you're trying to stop?
I'm trying to stop Arlen from getting the gun that's on the ground.
All right, so let's go again with brawl. Let's go again with brawl. So Arrow, roll your brawl. Okay, so you completely fail. So you just try to get him, but you cannot get him. Arlen, you successfully grab the gun from the floor. What do you do with the gun?
We currently have a monster.
We do.
Trying to escape the room.
Yes.
Just to confirm, is the doctor is summoner alive or dead?
No, the summoner is dead. So technically, there's nothing controlling that monster at this time, or that is capable of sending it away. So right now, it's kind of like whether do or die, or well, it's mostly do or die because you can't even escape. There's no stairs going away from this floor.
There's an elevator with the key that's in the pocket of the dead summoner.
No, the pocket is of the dead nurse. But you will need to search her to find that key because ultimately, I mean, just grabbing it pretty much is considered searching her to grab the key, but that'll cost you a turn to.
Yeah.
So and ultimately, you can also fail that too.
Yeah.
You might not be able to find it.
I'm just gonna try and dump a few bullets in the guy. I have up to 3 attacks per round, and I'm going to put 3 rounds into that thing for 3 traps. While going to our doctor, to August, to go get the keys from the nurse.
Okay, you gotta go get the keys from the nurse. Very well.
I told August to do that. I'm shooting at the thing. The first one is promising.
Mm-hmm.
The second one went wide. The third one also so dealt some damage if I'm lucky.
Yeah. So when you're shooting, you're noticing that the bullets are not necessarily doing anything to this guy. I mean, they don't seem to be hurting him a lot. Go ahead and roll spot hidden. I mean, obviously, this wouldn't be Arrow because Arrow is on the floor, more concerned about more concerned about um, stopping Arlen from killing
Yep.
the treatment
monster.
providing Messiah that just arrived. So Red Wolf, unfortunately, when Arlen takes his last shot, somehow the shot creates an explosion in the front of the gun that you were just looking at because they were struggling, and that kind of blinds you. Go ahead and roll a 1d4. Okay. And go ahead and roll. Actually, no. Don't roll anything else. All right. So that's going to blind you for 2 turns. No damage. Just blinded for 2 turns.
Right, I'm not sticking around. I'm just letting you know. If I can't see, I'm leaving.
Yeah, no. You can't see anything right now. So, Arlen. Oh, no. Not Arlen. But Arrow. Okay. So, what? No, hold on. Now is the Shambler's turn. Sorry. We're going around and around and. Let's see. 1d6 per turn. gonna just attack. Give me just a sec. Okay, 1D, 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. All right, Arlene, go ahead and roll your dodge. No, actually, what am I doing? Hold on. So Red Wolf is running back slowly because he cannot see, so he's probably touching the walls and trying to go through, like a blind man will run. So at this point, it's still all three of you in the room. 2. So yeah, Red Wolf. Go ahead and roll your dodge and hard. See if you can dodge that. Since you cannot see, no, that's in regular. You need it on hard. So on the top of the sheet, click on hard.
I'll push it. Oh, I have to. Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
where is that?
Top of the sheet, there should be roll options. It says regular, hard, extreme, verbose. Okay. So if you want to push it, you can, but it's gonna have to be pushed on hard too.
Nope.
Okay. No. So he will do what? 22 damage. So you're gone.
Yep.
So, Arrow. At this point in time, you do see what the Shambler does to Red Wolf's character. So, does your character still tries to stop Arlen, or is your character doing something different?
Nope. Now I'm trying to escape. Is there a door anywhere? Like, I know it's locked, but
right behind you is
really
the door
scared.
of the room.
Okay. I'm gonna try and open the door.
The door's open.
To the room? Oh, the door's okay.
That door never got closed.
And that's away from the Shambler, right?
Yeah. You're getting out of the room into the hallway. And then the hallway pretty much takes you straight towards the elevator. However, the elevator, remember, that is locked.
Yep. He's scared enough. I don't think he cares. Yeah, I'm gonna run for the elevator.
Okay. Run to the elevator. Arlen, what do you do?
Let me guess. Good doctor didn't take the key?
No.
Didn't look for the key?
No.
I'm gonna try and get the key.
Go for it.
But hidden?
Yeah, but keep in mind that when you are looking for the key, if you get attacked, you won't be able to dodge. Because you won't be looking at the incoming attack, you will be looking at finding the key. So, you gotta compromise here.
I know, and that's the problem.
The way I see it, you're gonna die regardless.
Most likely.
Whether
So,
you're gonna die by
I'm
being
gonna-
attacked, or you're gonna die by not getting the key and eventually being attacked. Because sooner or later, you're just gonna run out of luck.
Yeah, I'm still gonna try and find the key.
So go for it. Spy hidden.
Because it's literally the only way we can possibly escape.
All right. You don't find the key.
Can I sacrifice luck?
You can push the roll. Or you can buy it for luck.
I'm going to buy it.
Okay. So you buy it. You get the key. All right. So you got the key. Arrow ran away from the room. So so you're the only one in the room right now. Give me just a moment. 1, All right, so I'm going to allow you to dodge on hard, pretty much. Yeah,
This is gonna be bad.
it could be that you have some sort of sixth sense, and were able to sense the attack, but apparently not. Arrow, since you're out there, go ahead and roll spot hidden. Nothing. All
I'm
right.
dead as a dodo bird.
You see the shambler come out of the room and start heading your direction. Go ahead and what do you want to do?
I would try and pull the elevator doors open with my hands.
And the elevators do not open. Go ahead and roll spot hidden again. Okay, yeah, you're out of luck. I mean, unless you have enough luck to buy that roll, you're
No.
SOL.
Yeah,
just a
I'm probably
second.
going to tell you too.
All right, so right behind you, in front of the elevator, you keep pulling the door open from the elevator, and you see the shambler coming towards you. As you see the shambler coming towards you, you turn around kind of to dodge it, and all of a sudden you notice that you start falling to where the elevator was, but now there's just nothing there. You continue falling, and now when you look up, you kind of see that reality where you come from, that universe, the planet. But yet you keep falling down, and that is eventually going away, and you see the shambler just looking down at you from up there. Go ahead and roll a 1d 1000. All right. So, about the 860 that you roll, you are pretty much about 100. You know what? Just imagine that between 0 and 1000, it will be, the distance between your spot to the center of the universe, where ultimately Yog-Sothoth sleeps. You are about 140 away from the center of the universe. That's how far you are from Earth right now. So eventually you'll land on a planet. The sky is completely greenish yellow. There's brownish vegetation, and you hear just some sort of liquid like water, standing on what may seem to be almost grass-like vegetation. Go ahead and roll your luck. When you look around, you see different creatures coming at you running, and pretty much you can imagine the outcome. And those creatures obviously wouldn't be not necessarily earthly creatures, but more like alien savaging creatures that pretty much killed you. And that concludes this campaign.